Hey, this is Cochise for Cochise Rome. We're on the weight class episode 10A. UFC FOX 1. This is the heavyweight championship bout pitting Junior Dos Santos versus Cain Velasquez. I'm going to get into some of the preliminary fights as well. So hey, let's get into it right now. Featherweight match. Darren Yuya Oyama versus Kid Yamamoto. Darren Yuya Oyama is the epitome of an inconsistent fighter. Not because of his 6-3 record. Many known fighters have win-loss ratios like that. It's because his fight career started back in 2002 and he didn't fight again until 2007. He didn't fight at all in 2009 and this is his first fight of 2011. 60 days shy of 2012. Less than that actually. The man that Oyama has faced that most would know is Hideo Takoro. Takoro is a fighter that disturbs would-be MMA analysts such as myself a great deal. If you lose to Takoro, it doesn't mean that you're bad, but if you beat Takoro, even convincingly, it doesn't mean that you're good either. He's facing the one-time king of the featherweight division, Kid Yamamoto. Since coming back in 2009 from a career-threatening near injury that kept him off the show for 2 years, Yamamoto has faced with the problem that MMA has passed him by in some ways. Stylistically, the Joe Warren loss was only an upset because few knew who Joe Warren was at the time. Rushing to erase that loss led to more trouble with the KO and K1 to a Korean kickboxer I know little about. Then the Matsuhari Kinihara fight took place. Now I don't like to rant and wane on the weight classes, but I saw that fight live. And let me tell you something. There was a 3-minute plus song that killed any kind of mood for fighting, playing with dead air and odd camera angles. I seriously thought that the Yakuza killed Yamamoto in the back. Then a different and somehow lamer song played with Kid and like 30 other people coming out to a crowd that was a little irritated and a lot confused. Finally, Kid won the fight to a lower-ranking fighter in Dream, made his UFC debut to face Mighty Mouse, who in all honesty just went to win that fight on points. Though Yamamoto has been through a rough patch in his career, he's still fast and more than enough to beat a half-hearted fighter such as Yuya Oyama. Lightweight match. Ben Henderson versus Clay Guida. In a fight that should be seen nationwide to showcase lighter-weight fighters, Ben Henderson is going up against Clay Guida. There's been a lot of commentary about this fight. I fortunately avoided it so it would not taint my thoughts. Clay Guida is known for having an insane gas tank in terms of cardio, but the problem with his fighting style is that he expends too much energy, sometimes to intimidate his opponents, or in the Takanori Gomi case, confuse them. Not being grounded on the feet can lead to missed opportunities in power punches and kicks. I've seen Clay rock his opponents from time to time, but there is room for improvement there. Ben Henderson, like the man that Guida just defeated, Anthony Pettis, can and has won 5 rounds. Thus, cardio is a non-issue. Until that arcade-like ninja kick, I personally felt that Henderson was winning that fight against Anthony. I was very impressed with Henderson's submission defense game in the Jim Miller fight. Clay's game plans, or what I take to be his plans, usually work like this. Eccentric movement to find an opening, then various sub-attempts. I don't think that this will work against Henderson with him being a more technical fighter overall, leading the ex-WEC champ to a close but satisfying unanimous decision win. UFC Heavyweight Championship bout. The challenger, Junior Dos Santos, versus the champion, Cain Velasquez. Ever since Randy Couture Tim Sylvia, all the subsequent heavyweight championship bouts have garnered tremendous attention. This could be from the UFC's acquisition of other MMA organizations, the sheer increase in knockout specialists in the heavyweight division over the past 4 or 5 years, or that the past real, not interim champions, that being Randy, Brock, and Cain, have had long layovers in defending their belts, thus making the market even thirstier than normal. Perhaps it's a combination of all these things that creates its own dynamic. November 12th, the next biggest heavyweight fight will take place between the challenger, Junior Dos Santos, versus the champion, Cain Velasquez. Not since Fedor Krokop have we seen a heavyweight title fight with this much athleticism. Let's talk about the challenger first. Junior Dos Santos made a name for himself by outstriking known strikers. Ivo, Krokop. You would think I'm just
naming off has-beens. But what about the power hitters such as St. Carl, Gonzaga, or Roy Nelson? Many will credit someone like Nick Diaz for their amazing stand-up, but we must remember that martial arts is about self-defense, something that JDS knows how to blend with his offense. He is somehow able to flush your power punchers with his game and avoid getting into trouble himself. 3 of his 7 UFC fights have entered the 3rd frame. There's been some question about Junior Dos Santos' cardio since his last fight, but it's better to get tired from doing damage and reassessing your energy to match that of your opponents. The major problem is that he's not faced a fighter that's willing to take the fight to the ground. Shane Carwin, while a collegiate wrestler himself, has not really shown that side of him in the UFC. This will be the measuring stick to see how good JDS's sub game and the ability to get back standing on his feet once the fight goes to the ground. Now I'd like to talk about the champion, Cain Velasquez. After making the baddest man on the planet look like an amateur in the octagon, Cain has been off with the bum shoulder. In terms of praising Cain's abilities, I really can't say anything that hasn't been said before. He's an outstanding wrestler with good cardio, and he's a power puncher. The few times that Cain's fights have left the first round, it did not showcase him in the best light. A strange stoppage of Ben Rothwell, then the Congo fight, which he had to make boring because he was being outstruck. Cardio in the gym and cardio in the fight are 2 different things. We've seen Dos Santos get tired but still do damage to a point where he's not losing rounds and still coming forward. Cain still brings it, but the 2nd and 3rd round video footage says that there's some decline as well. My feeling is that if Cain can implement some nice leg kicks, he can do something that JDS has never seen before and thus throw his game off. That being said, I'm going to cautiously go with Junior Dos Santos.
Okay, so those are my picks. Please check me out on episode B a few days after the event. Probably just 1 day after the event, actually. It's important that, we reflect on all this fighting going on because, in 3 months or 4 months, or for some of the heavyweights, more like 5 or 6, whatever we're previewing, we have to review these fights that are taking place right now. Like I said, there's a lot of MMA going on. There's 37, 38, Fox 1, and 39 is coming up very quickly. The Ultimate Fighter Season 14 finale is coming up very soon. And also UFC 140 is happening in December. So there's a lot of stuff going on. Just keep everything straight going. Check out my episode B's, where I review the cards and talk about, the fights I got right. It's never like an I told you so thing. And the fights that I got wrong and what happened and stuff like that. Okay, guys, take care.